Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is the 14th of December. It feels like this is the day where we are at the end of the beginning of this COVID battle in England, anyway, because this is the day that the Johnson regime is going to push through vaccine passports with the help of the Labour Party opposition. But there is no opposition in Parliament. The fake Conservatives, Labour, the other parties there are all working together to implement the agenda of the World Economic Forum and the New World Order. And we've got about 80 or so-called Tory libertarians who are beating their breasts and saying, this is terrible, we're going to vote against it. But they know that they're not going to succeed. They know that with the Labour Party, these things are going to get through anyway, with or without them. If they really wanted to stop it, what they could do is leave the Tory party, put in their letters of no confidence in Johnson to the 1922 committee chairman, crush the government, crush the regime, then there wouldn't be a vote on vaccine passports and we wouldn't have them. But they're not going to do that. But what my question to them is, where were you in October when there was the extension to the Coronavirus Act, which enables this to happen now? There were hardly any of you in the chamber. You just waved it through or didn't bother to turn up to vote against it. Where were you when the Covert Human Intelligence Sources Act went through, which gave agents of the state the right to legally break the law? And where are you now? Also, the police crime courts and sentencing bill is going through, and the online harms or online safety bill, which is going to take away more of our freedom. You're nowhere to be seen. You're just playing puppetry and theatre. That's what you're doing. This is going to happen. And it's going to fundamentally alter the relationship between the state and the people and regress our freedoms back to a time perhaps even worse than we were in the feudal times. Because, and that's no overstatement, because all my life, all your lives, we were born into a system where we have the fundamental understanding that in the UK, through our common law, everything is permissible unless it's specifically prohibited by the government for a good reason. And a government can put in place laws that prohibit you from doing certain things if they cause harm, loss, or damage to another living man or living woman. Absolutely, I'm absolutely fine with that. But this totally turns that on its head. So from this evening, we're no longer going to live in a country where everything is permissible unless it's specifically prohibited, to a country where nothing is permitted unless the government gives you specific and individual permission to do something. So first of all, these vaccine passports are going to come in, and they're only going to be applied to nightclubs and sports events. So they say large events. Now that personally doesn't affect me. I don't go to nightclubs anymore, but it does affect you if you do go to them. So if you want to go to a nightclub, the government will not give you permission to go to a nightclub unless you've been a good boy or girl and had 2 or 3 injections of an experimental substance whose manufacturers have no liability if that substance causes you any serious adverse health events or even death. You can't go to a nightclub unless you've taken this experimental substance. This is absolutely despicable, deplorable, and wrong, unethical on anyone's imagination or anyone's scale of thinking. If you think this is okay, then there's something severely wrong with your moral compass at the best, and I'm being polite there. But it's not going to stop with nightclubs. It'll then be cinemas and theatres, and then restaurants and pubs. The government will deny you permission to go to the pub or allow you permission to go to the pub depending on what it says on your NHS Covid Pass, which is the same system as the Chinese Communist Party digital identity and social credit system. And it will extend very quickly to more venues, and it will extend in scope. So it won't just be that you are denied or allowed permission by the government to go to places depending on what vaccines you've got. It can be extended very, very easily to allow you or deny you permission to do certain things depending on your other health records, or perhaps your education, or perhaps your criminal record, or perhaps your social media record. You might have criticized the government in some way that it doesn't like, and then it can deny you permission to travel, to get on an aeroplane, to get on a train, to do a certain educational course, or even to have and hold a certain job. This is the system that's being put in place. And very disturbingly, I've heard today people have written to their MPs, and some of them have written back and said, it's not a problem. It's only large venues. It's only temporary. You can still go to them if you have a test. They simply don't get it. This is the end of freedom in England. We've already seen the end of freedom in Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland, and it's getting worse and it's intensifying. And other countries that are a little bit further along the line than us, such as Australia, Austria, and Germany, have pretty much turned already into tyrannical police states. Now, whether you call them Nazi states or police states or communist states, technocratic states, it makes no difference. They are now tyrannies that have taken away freedom unjustly and wrongly, and these regimes need to be resisted. So from tomorrow, brace yourselves and steel yourselves in your inner being to resist and fight what this regime is doing in England, and also if you live in other parts of the world that it's happened as well. We need to just say to anyone who asks us, I do not consent, and then walk away from them. And if they carry on harassing you, you say, I do not consent, go away and leave me alone. And if they keep on harassing you, then, as far as I'm concerned, they are committing a criminal offence against your person. Because if you just simply go to a shop or you go to a venue and you don't have an NHS Covid Pass, you are not causing harm, loss or damage to anybody else. But the people who are enforcing these tyrannical, repugnant regulations are causing harm, loss and damage to you. So they are in the wrong according to common law. And I will stand on common law and I will defy this wicked, tyrannical regime. Now, please, I hope you can find the strength in yourself to do this, because we all need to resist on an individual level, but we can all resist this together and go shopping together, go out together in groups, and then it's harder for some Stasi type Jobsworth to have a go at you if you're in a group of people. And it's also harder for the Stasi checker type police thugs and New World Order goons to have a go at you if you're in a big crowd of people. So it's going to be tough, but there are millions of us, and there are at least 20 million people in the UK who have not taken a vaccine dose, what I shouldn't call them vaccines, an injection of experimental genetic material. And the government, the regime is desperate for everybody to have this because it's desperate to get everybody onto the digital identity system. But look, I know there are some people who have had these injections and now realize that they were deceived and they were duped. What I'd say to you is, well done for waking up and realizing this, and you're not going to have a third injection or a fourth injection. Whatever you do, do not get the NHS Covid Pass, because that is the slave system they want to get you on to control you and to prohibit you from doing normal things in your life. That's what this is all about. So resist the NHS Covid Pass. The more of us that resist, the better we'll be. And if millions of us continue to resist, we'll be okay in the end. We'll be fine, because this regime will fall. They are desperate. They're like a beast that is lashing out because human beings, like me, like you, are not obeying the beast system, and they want to take us down. But in our millions, we can resist them. How long that will take, I don't know. But the more of us there are, the quicker it will be. So brace yourselves, everybody. Stand together, and God bless you all.